Do people with narcissistic personality disorder believe their own lies? Welcome to Signpost for Living with Dr. Kirsten Hunter, and we've got gorgeous Kristen Coggan here. Hello, darling.
Hello.
Good to see you.
And you.
So, here we go. Do people with narcissistic personality disorder believe their own lies? Gut reaction?
No.
No, they don't believe them. So they double negative. I'm very confused. What are you?
We're all confused.
What are you saying?
Obviously, we're not narcissists. Okay, so gut instinct is the way a narcissist acts and the way that they gaslight and the way that they feed the bullshit. You would think that they have to believe it, but I don't think they do. I think they're well aware that it's lies, and they can act like they believe it to get everybody else believing it.
Yeah. Well, my brain's exploding on this one. So everyone, first of all, narcissistic personality disorder, it's a personality disorder where the person, where basically they're, where do you start, hey?
Well, they're control freaks.
Very controlling, very manipulative. They will love bomb people, and then they will manipulate them and they'll undermine them, and the goal is to erode their sense of self and their autonomy so that the person's more and more vulnerable, and they can get their own way, and they have power and dominance, and they enjoy. It's a cat with a mouse. They enjoy messing with them and hurting them. They don't have a conscience around that. They're actually quite proud of it, and so lots of superficial charm with the outside world. And behind closed doors, this is where this all comes out. So street angel, home devil is the common phrase.
And they will, I'm not a psychologist, so please correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, but once they're bored with that, they will throw that person to the side and start on the next conquest.
It depends. Sometimes they will keep them there because they're a convenient fixture for life. Other times they'll move on to something else, yeah. Absolutely. And, the person has really lost their voice, their agency. They're gaslighting. I think it's fascinating we have this term now. The people have started to think, well, maybe it is true that the sky is green. Maybe it is true that I'm this.
I'm mad.
Yeah.
I must be crazy.
Yeah.
I must be bad. I must be worthless.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that I think it's evidence that a lot of people with narcissistic PD, we call it NPD, they will actually accuse the other person of their own traits.
Yes, they will.
And which is interesting because it shows that they have that awareness that that's what they're like. But if you get in there and accuse the other person of doing that first, it's really hard for them to turn around and say it back to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a pretty hot topic. A lot of people, there's an increasing awareness of narcissistic personality disorder now, and that's a really good thing. It's overused. A lot of people think, oh, is he or she such a narcissist, or but
it's a convenient term that gets bandied about a lot.
Oh, it annoys me because it's such a genuine
Yes.
disorder. It shouldn't be used
And
that
to
way.
the point where if you've been affected by a narcissist, even if you went and told people the story, it sounds fanciful.
Well, I think the population, I've said this many times, population is divided into two groups: those that have experienced this, and those that haven't. And those people that haven't just can't understand what it's like because they've had people across from them who might be a pain in the neck and might have bad habits and might be a bit selfish, but fundamentally there's a desire to be constructive. Whereas these people, they're fundamentally, their agenda is to be destructive. And you can't understand it unless you've lived it.
And you can't change it, you can't fight it.
No, you've just got to have boundaries and not be there, basically. You can't work with these people.
It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah. So do they understand their own lives? First of all, they lie a lot because their truth doesn't have a value. It's what version is going to be convenient for my outcome. And so some of them are very good liars. They'll remember what they've said before and they'll build them up. Other people are really bad liars and they forget what they've said before.
Oh no, I'd be hopeless.
Do you reckon?
I'd be useless.
Or they don't notice that their kids are around and their kids know the truth. Or the next time they see that person, they forget the lie that they've said. A lot of them aren't very good at lying. But So they lie all the time. There isn't a fundamental value for truth, and that's because they don't have a conscience around, if I lied to someone, I would feel bad, so sorry, I would like to not do it for your sake, but I actually am not doing it for my sake, so they don't have that. So I've got lots of contradicting ideas.
Right.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay. The fact that they will do superficial charm in society and then they don't at home says that there's a change. There's a putting on a mask and not.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they will be selective of who they lie to and who they don't lie to sometimes, to me that shows that they know that they're lying.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
that suggests
I concur.
On and off switch.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that they do know. But they're also profoundly entitled.
Yes, they are.
Yeah? So they're the kid in the sandpit that thinks they get the whole sandpit. And so I think when you've got entitlement, you actually can believe and justify a lot of what you're, the explanations for why you're saying what you're saying, or you're unreasonable in your expectation of others, or demanding, or, I think they believe their entitlement.
That's what I've questioned. Like, do they believe their own lies? Because they've got if they're gaslighting a group of people, as in like a family unit or something like that, do they get to the point where they do believe it? Because they justify, it's that justification. So then they think they're right. They can justify why what they've said is correct in their own minds.
Yeah, I agree. And another area to think about is that they typically have a victim mindset.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, poor me.
Yep.
Poor me. You know, I've heard some say, "Oh, how dare you make me feel so bad," when they're being held accountable for something. Mm-hmm. That was a good one. So when you've got a victim mindset, I think you're less likely to care about truth, and you're going to flip it and twist it so that your version is justified.
Yep.
So I think that's important. And then the last area I thought about is they're not, apart from being mindful of others for the sake of manipulating them and charming them, they're not fundamentally mindful of other people. And so, you know how they say there's three versions, your truth, my truth, in the middle? Mm-hmm. Well, I think in there you've got to have some mindfulness of the impact on the other person, their needs, your role. So I think fundamentally they're not that mindful of other people.
No.
So therefore their truth is going to be skewed.
Yes.
So if you call that believing their lies, I'm not sure, but it contributes, if you know what I mean.
And it's such a hard, because it's hard to, when you're not a narcissist, you just can't relate to it.
No.
What's like? How can they do that? What do they like? It is such a poisonous thing.
Well, psychopathy, psychopath is there's a bit of argument that they're on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Other people argue they're very different. I mean, my PhD was partly on psychopathy, so I'm pretty studied in it. But I theoretically understand it, but I don't get it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get it.
No.
Because if I did get it, I'd be a psychopath. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the same with narcissistic PD. You can have lived experience, which I sure as hell have, and you have as well. Yeah. But you're not actually going to get it.
And I spent a lot of time trying to get it, trying to understand it, to make sense of it. And it was you that said to me one day, if you make sense of it, you're right there with it. And I thought, it's okay.
We've had this conversation before.
I don't need to understand it. No. That's the whole point.
Just theoretically study it.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. Good to just have a chat from a different angle, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know, sadly. But thank you for coming along. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Next time. Looking forward to anyway, to pause, yes.
Okay.
If you want to catch me online, we've got Facebook and Instagram, Kirsten Hunter Author, and our website, kirstenhunterauthor.com. Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you once again.
Yes.
Bye.